We're the anchors of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we discuss the queer headlines. Queer Screen Mardi Gras Film Festivals unveils 4 projects, and a film at Marché du Film's goes to Cannes, vying for top honors.
BYU is seeing a shift as it tries its best to embrace the LGBTQ+ students. Over 150 recently marched, reflecting on both progress and setbacks.
Queer icons dazzle at the Met Gala. Garden of Time theme. Standouts include Daniel Levy, Demi Lovato, and Lil Nas X, among many others.
Let the Canaries Sing on Paramount Plus explores Cyndi Lauper's iconic journey, blending her music, style, and LGBTQ+ activism. It premieres on June 4th.
Good evening. Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ+ daily evening television news. Broadcasting live and available on demand. We're on all your smart televisions, including Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon Fire TV, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. It's time to queer up the news for Thursday, May 9th, 2024. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live, daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ+ evening news show. Whatever happens unique in the LGBTQ+ news, you will see it and hear it here.
Hotspots Magazine Happening Out Television Network is a non-profit 501c3 media company in the same model of PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ+ community. Our mission is to support the 11 pillars of our LGBTQ+ community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of our queer culture: the Black community, Latino, lesbians and queer women, trans, students, youth, seniors, HIV/AIDS healthcare, business, social justice, and faith. Help us support our community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ+ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
In 2024, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ+ experience. In our television news, talk and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ+ and broader communities.
Let's begin by meeting tonight's anchors for Queer News Tonight. We'll begin welcoming anchor Sam Lantz, a finalist from Netflix Squid Games, The Challenge. He's passionate about interior design, fashion, and advocacy for the LGBTQ+ community. He loves to go on adventures with his husband, Doug, and his 2 adopted fur babies, Duke and Moo. Welcome, Sam.
Hi.
How's it going?
Going well.
Okay, great. Let's welcome anchor Dr. Bobby Huen. He's a certified civil and family mediator and founder of BH Conflict Resolution Services. From Hong Kong and having grown up across the world, he can offer a queer global perspective on current events. Welcome, Bobby.
Thank you, thank you.
Great to have you. And next, we'll welcome anchor Buddy Frey. A longtime South Florida resident, he supports many of our local nonprofit organizations like Julian's Foundation of Youth and the Stonewall National Library Museum. Welcome back, Buddy.
Thank you. And of course, this is tonight's lead anchor, Dr. Tai Houser. He is a professor of English and Humanities at Broward College, and teaches in the College of Business at Florida Atlantic University. He has served as visiting professor at colleges in Bolivia, Brazil, China, India, and Spain, and provides an international viewpoint. Welcome, Tai.
I'm glad to be here at this table with you all. We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ+ community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast, and here are the bullet points of the queer news for Thursday, May 9th, 2024. We'll begin the news this evening by queering up the worldview. 5 LGBTQ+ films compete to be featured at Cannes. In a thrilling partnership with the Marché du Film's Goes to Cannes showcase strand, Australia's Queer Screen Mardi Gras Film Festival is set to unveil 4 compelling projects and a finished film. These 5 projects, to be pitched on May 18th, will vie for the prestigious first €10,000 Goes to Cannes award. Let's dive into this year's lineup. First up, Arms of a Man. The semi-autobiographical tale follows city dweller Anad during a 10-day mourning period of his late father's rural village, where he forms a bond with his childhood friend. The film's release is slated for July. Next is From All Sides. This story delves into the lives of a multicultural bisexual married couple in an open relationship and their teenage children. Next, Heart of the Man, which explores the journey of a young boxing prodigy as he grapples with his sexuality. Then, Strange Creatures examines how toxic masculinity manifests across various microcosms. Lastly, Under the Influencer, this cutting-edge, tech-driven thriller drama follows a struggling digital artist who plots a psychological showdown against a popular art curator and mentor. Stay tuned here to Queer News Tonight for the updates to see these captivating projects as they make waves in the global film industry. So it's great to see all this representation coming out. What I didn't realize is there's so many different organizations involved here, right? It all comes under the Cannes Film Festival guise.
Right.
But then there's the Goes to Cannes, which is
Australian.
Goes to Cannes is the Australian Mardi Gras Film Festival that's bringing them to the marketplace at Cannes. So what they're doing is they're bringing them to try and get them picked up by film festivals, by producers, and they all look really, really interesting. The one that I'm excited about is Strange Creatures, right? Because it's toxic masculinity, but it's also a dark comedy. And if you know anything about my comedy, it's pretty dark.
I enjoy dark comedy as well, but I'm looking forward to the boxer movie. For fairly obvious reason. Look at those arms. But otherwise, the art scene has always been, there's like Art Basel, right? You know, that one central attraction, and then there's like 16,000 things that goes around it, and everyone is trying to sell you everything. It's a little overwhelming, actually, most of the time.
But it's exciting to finally see that there's a
queer representation in it.
Not just queer representation, but queer organizations trying to bring us forward rather than having us stand in the back going, over here, please, over here.
Yeah. I love that it's broadening basically like the entryway into Cannes, which has been so small, and you have to have, so much money behind your project to be able to do it. So I feel like this is great because it's providing more pathways to get there versus just, get lucky and get a ton of money.
And greater visibility with opportunities to partner and to have, unique avenues.
Yep.
So I'm wondering, if we do kind of a special independent film about your Squid Games work, and maybe follow your path to success there, or your path through it. Do you think we could get that to Cannes?
My husband is actually doing that.
Is he really?
He is. He is a documentary filmmaker, and he's doing kind of like it's a broader look too, because it's more also about just the reality star kind of overnight going from someone that people don't really know to being someone that so many people know. So.
That's awesome. Well, I'm available for outtakes as well.
Or takeout.
I'll babysit Moo.
Well, next, let's queer up students and youth culture. LGBTQ plus students at Mormon BYU continue to fight for inclusivity. Stephen Perry, once silenced by the words of a former Brigham Young University president, now openly embraces his identity as a gay man while working at BYU. This changing landscape at the university was recently marked by a gathering of over 150 members of the Provo, Utah community, largely LGBTQ plus BYU students and recent graduates. They gathered to recognize both the ongoing struggles and strides made within the campus community. This annual gathering also saw the participants reflecting on their experiences. Freshman Kate Wickham, embracing the metaphor of progress, likened their journey to, quote, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, end quote, acknowledging setbacks while affirming their forward momentum. The event led to a march to a park for a drag show. Against the black backdrop of the Latter-day Saints temple, students donned rainbow attire expressed their identities boldly. However, recent announcements such as the requirement for incoming freshmen to read a controversial speech by Latter-day Saint Apostle Jeffrey Holland have created concerns among students. Holland notoriously encouraged members to protect, quote, marriage as a union of a man and a woman, end quote. His remarks were met with resistance from LGBTQ plus students who voiced concerns about revisiting past harm. However, BYU still provides prohibitions on same-sex romantic behavior with potential disciplinary actions for violators. The recent rally is a display of the complex journey towards inclusivity at BYU, with students advocating for acceptance and recognition while confronting institutional barriers. Well, I want to say kudos to the students. I mean, that's very brave of them. But I also want to remind you that BYU exists in a very weird position. They are technically a religious private college, but because the Latter-day Saints, the religion, is so ingrained in the state of Utah, it's essentially an unofficial quasi-state school. Mm-hmm. And for them, and it's also notoriously responsible for electrocuting LGBTQ plus students in the 70s to cure it as a part of a conversion therapy. So it's good for them to at least pay attention to some queer students, but I would say that the road to recovery is very, very far away.
Oh yeah, I mean, the 2 steps forward, 1 step back thing is a statement that we could use every day of our lives, even in this day and age, regardless of what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. But I think it's important that the students don't get discouraged and start getting aggressive. I mean, the only way you're going to work. I mean, we can debate.
I'm just going to have to swallow myself here because I am an ex-Mormon and I grew up in all of this, and this just absolutely enrages me. It sets me at such a point because I went through so much religious abuse from that organization, and they're claiming that, you know, they're doing the best for whatever, whoever, garbage, burying stuff in their religion. They're, you know, forcing people. They want people's money, but they're going to force them to live their way. And that is that's, you know, we criticize all of these other countries for forcing people to live based on religious viewpoints. And yet we allow this in our higher education systems. And we allow it because we have freedom of religion, but we're allowing freedom of religion to run over people's personal freedoms. We are giving religions more freedom than actual people. And
I mean, just to kind of counter that, is that, you know, it is a religious institution, and just like a Catholic school, Catholic college or university would be protecting the Catholic view of these things, so too would.
I'm not just saying it's strictly Mormon. I'm saying all religious educational systems need to be completely
right. But in this situation,
rethought.
And this might be, I mean, this is definitely my take on this. You signed up to go to that school. Now, you can, I mean, as a gay person, you can sit there and be proud of who you are and however you can and make your position known. But what I was trying to say earlier is the 2 steps forward, 1 step back, that's going to be constant because you're going up against an institution that's centuries old.
Well, but on the other hand,
a simplified view of it. Yeah.
Well, it might be simplified, but we have 60 seconds to talk about it here on TV. I debated for days and weeks.
I just want to close out saying that, Buddy, I understand what you're trying to say, but a lot of students do not have the agency to choose a different school just because they're LGBTQ+, especially if they're Mormon and they're stuck in an environment where they're forced to conform to the Mormon ideals. A lot of these students are in the closet. They're unwilling to come out for fear of essentially their parents disowning them, and they go to BYU because they have no other choice because the parents might not want to pay for any other way for these kids to go to school.
Okay, well, and those are all variables that, you know, you go in depth for.
I think what Buddy's also saying is I like the 2 steps forward or 1 step forward, 2 steps back, because we do frequently see BYU in the news with kind of, okay, so they're doing this one thing that seems a bit progressive,
right,
but then they go backwards a couple ways. Right. And I don't know, I mean, maybe you're not interested in answering this, Sam, but, you know, is that part of your experience within the church is being, maybe, okay, so I see some promises somewhere, but it doesn't really.
It's PR stunts.
Is that what it is?
To me, because nothing ever actually changes.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
They want money. They want, their power. Like, I mean, going back to Proposition 8 in California, they were a huge proponent of that, and they really wanted that to pass. But yet they want separation of church and state, and they don't want to have to pay taxes. It's just this duality of what they want and what they don't want to give, and it's just so messy. And I think religion needs to stay where it, was according to the Bible in people's hearts and in people's private lives. It doesn't need to run other people's lives.
So education began with monks, with the Jesuits, right? And so it's always kind of been a religious institution. As we moved through the Enlightenment and as we came into kind of the modern, or not even the modern, the Enlightenment, we began to have more secular institutions. And those institutions have always been at the forefront of social change and of the growth that we have as Americans, as citizens of the world. One of the things that is involved in the speech that everyone has to read is he's talking about scholars working with trowels and muskets to defend the kingdom. So he talks about educators as like the builders and defenders. And if everyone is being forced to read this, and this is where I have faith in education, if everyone is being forced to read this, the educated people at BYU will recognize that their trowel and their musket doesn't have to support what he's saying.
Right.
It has to support. They will, I have faith, and that's all it is blind faith in educated people. But I have faith that the faculty at BYU will come around to saying, this is ridiculous, and we're going to use our muskets to defend the opposite of what you're saying, because now that we have the opportunity to read and discuss this
And read through it.
And consider it, we can make educated, informed opinions about it.
I mean, I could go on about this
and it might not happen. It might not happen. But what I'm saying is that's just blind faith on my part.
Yeah, and I mean, I love the positive outlook.
Well, and that's what I was hoping to encourage. Is like, you've got an uphill battle. You've got a pebble that you've got to put up Mount Rainier.
Yeah.
So just realize that it's an everyday battle, and you've got to just keep trudging through. I mean, it is what it is.
I'm at the point in my battle where I'm throwing the pebble instead of just carrying it.
Whatever,
because it's
however you want to tackle that pebble, that's fine. But I'm just trying to encourage the students to go 150 individuals versus an entire campus of tens of thousands of students and people and multiple centuries.
That's it. And use your intellect to use his words on him.
Yeah.
And more people will see that 150 people and get
and be inspired. But I'm just saying,
exactly,
don't lose faith because in
I
yourselves.
Agree. Yes, 100%.
So,
okay.
Well,
what's next, buddy?
let's go to culture. Let's queer up gay culture. The LGBTQ plus celebrities brought Garden of Time fashion to the Met Gala 2024. When it comes to dressing up and pulling a look, nothing can beat the queer community. As it is the beginning of May, it means the Met Gala was here. Queer celebs brought out their best game to match this year's theme of Garden of Time. Here are some of the queer celebrities that shined at the Met Gala red carpet. It was Ayo Edebiri's first Met carpet, and she looked dapper and low. Coleman Domingo attended in Willie Chavaria. Rita Ora came in Tom Ford. Daniel Levy was seen in a low fadeaway suit, transitioning from black into colorful flowers. Cole Escola in Tom Brown. Lena Waite came in Etro, giving a bit of an Ed Hardy 2000 tuxedo vibe. Demi Lovato in Prabha Gurung. Harris Reed came with his muse, 90s gay icon Demi Moore. Jordan Roth came in Valentino. Cynthia Erivo wore Tom Brown. Black queer music icon Lil Nas came in Luar. Lily Gladstone was seen in Gabriella Hearst. Quinard Chasing Horse in H&M, Willow Smith in Dior, Cardi B in Giambattista Valli, Chanel Monáe wore Vera Wang, Emily Ratajkowski in Versace, Rosalia in Dior, Cara Delevingne in Stella McCartney, Hari Neff in H&M, and Queen Latifah and her partner Ebony Nichols, both in Thom Browne. Apart from the above, queer icons like Law Roach, Jonathan Anderson, Andy Cohen, who, by the way, came with Sarah Jessica Parker, who else? Andrew Scott, Dove Cameron, Christian Cowan, and Sam Smith were also seen on the red carpet flaunting their fashionable clothes. And I need a breath from reading all those names.
I wonder if that's the first time Andy Cohen has come with a woman.
But on sponge.
Well, I mean, it's Sarah Jessica Parker, so...
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited for this time of year. I'm not much of a fashionista anymore to really get hung up on the labels. I appreciate the theme. I look at the, how nice everything looks, and...
I just want to know, H&M, the label that's like for $10 for a t-shirt, has red carpet looks on the mat. When did that happen?
When it became a PR event, and when it became a high name issue. But apparently they've held their own because they've been in multiple events at this point.
So the theme is actually based on a short story. I don't know if you know this or not, but it was based on a short story, and it's about this couple that travels through time by using flowers. Okay?
Oh, cool.
But it's really kind of like a dystopian, like the world is dying kind of thing. So I'm concerned that the theme wasn't actually being produced on the carpet, because it all seemed like very garden friendly.
Yeah.
Well, they took the optimistic view.
They took the surface.
I think they just take like that, like is that a superstition, like
superficial.
Superficial.
What you're saying is Hollywood is superficial, and they don't actually think about what they're doing.
You heard it here first, folks.
Wow. Breaking news.
Breaking news. Hollywood is superficial.
I actually preferred folks like I think it was Chris Hemsworth and Matt Damon and some others just sort of showed up in like traditional, like very clean, very classic looks, tuxedos, suits.
But that's kind of boring.
Yeah, that's a little boring.
But this is also, it's a fundraiser, and it's meant to have some excitability, and it's meant to give people a reason to talk about. And then, I mean, look who's sponsoring it. I mean, come on, she's the grande dame of all of fashion. She makes and breaks people.
Yeah, well, Miss Wintour is,
She's notorious, so you might as well have a little fun with it, and if you can make some money off of it for charity, go for it. I have no problem with that.
Excellent. All right, Sam, bring us in.
Next, let's queer up entertainment. Paramount Plus to release Cyndi Lauper documentary in time for Pride Month. Paramount Plus unveiled its latest offering, Let the Canary Sing, a captivating documentary delving into the life and impact of music icon Cyndi Lauper. The film, directed by Emmy Award winner Alison Elwood, will debut exclusively on the streaming service in the US and Canada on June 4th, followed by a release on June 5th in various international markets, including the UK, Australia, Latin America, and across Europe. Let the Canary Sing is a collaborative effort between Fine Point Films, Sony Music Entertainment, and Concord Originals. It traces Lauper's extraordinary journey from her rapid rise to fame to her enduring influence on multiple generations through her music, evolving style, feminist beliefs, and LGBTQ+ activism. The trailer also includes archival footage of Lauper's life with snippets of her iconic hits, such as Girls Just Wanna Have Fun and Time After Time, along with interviews featuring fellow artists like Billy Porter and Patti LaBelle. To complement the documentary, Legacy Recordings, Sony Music Entertainment's catalog division, will release a companion album of the same name, featuring a selection of Lauper's greatest hits spanning her career, from her days in Blue Angel to chart toppers like Girls Just Wanna Have Fun and True Colors. The album will be available on vinyl and digitally. Queer fans of Lauper can pre-order this essential edition on cindylauper.lnk.to/LTCS.
Everyone always said, "What will you do if you fail?" And all of a sudden, we all heard it. We went to Catholic school.
She would mouth off, and she just wasn't going to take from people, period.
It really built up how stubborn I could be.
Queer people weren't allowed to be queer and out. It was our allies having the conversation.
When you're that different, you view other people as having a problem.
Everybody had a thought on what she should do, ignoring what she wanted to do.
Cyndi just doing what Cyndi does, saying women can do that.
She had something to say, and she's going to fight the fight.
Time after time, one of my favorite songs ever. You will find me. Time after time. We turned it out.
You don't know where you came from. You don't know where you're going. But if you're doing what you love, magic.
I love Cyndi Lauper. I'm very excited for this. Finding her music. When I grew up in little town Idaho, it was kind of hard. It was surprising because it was, old music even back then, and usually they find that acceptable, but Cyndi was still hidden from me. So when I found her through a friend, it was like the whole world opened up to me. It was so cool to really, see someone that was so funky and artistic and fun in this very beige world that I kind of grew up in. So I'm excited to see this.
Hold on. Let me have a date check. When did Girls Just Want to Have Fun came out? 82, 83?
83, 84,
yeah.
somewhere in there.
Oh my God, I was 5 years young.
I was born 2 years later.
So I always preferred Cyndi Lauper to Madonna growing up.
Oh,
Like
Same.
because they were both, it was the
They
same
were
time period.
contemporaries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I always preferred Cyndi.
actually, growing up in Hong Kong, I barely hear any Cyndi. Like Madonna was the international queen. Cyndi was. I think Cyndi just had that sort of like uniquely Western appeal that don't translate very well. Maybe.
Well, she was also kind of, you'll be able to comment better than I on this, but she's also kind of like a remnant of the punk scene.
Sort of
with like her hair, and like she had that bit of punky edginess to her,
Yeah.
even though it was sort of really pop.
Yeah, I mean, she kind of fell in. She came in at the same time when that whole genre. I mean, I'm not trying to put her in the same genre because it's not the same. Because she was definitely more pop. But she came in that whole line of Flock of Seagulls, Boy George, Cyndi Lauper. The weirder you could get, the more David Bowie-ish you could be in an '80s
Gender bending
kind of way without offending half the world. The happier it was. She came out. I think she succeeded because her songs were very popcorn bubblegum oriented. So your parents didn't really pay attention. But if you paid attention, you listened to the lyrics, there was a lot of meaning behind it that you were like, damn, finally somebody's reading the telephone book and I can understand what the hell they're saying.
Yeah. Exactly.
Although understand what they're saying, I mean, her voice has changed so much over the years. I saw the Netflix documentary on the We Are the World, and her accent was so much thicker back then than it is today.
She worked on it. She said, I had to get rid of a little bit. but at the same point, she also, you have to give her, she's had the longevity because she has the stamina of that voice. Patti LaBelle, Cyndi Lauper, Cher, up and down. But I mean, she's got that talented voice that everybody, no matter who you are, that girl can sing. I may not like what she's singing, but damn, she can sing. That made her stand out.
It is also extremely recognizable.
Yeah.
She opened her mouth, it's Cyndi Lauper.
I like the title because I always think of the phrase canary in a coal mine.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, you take the canary down to see if it dies, and if it dies, you need to leave.
Right.
Well, she's still singing. So that means that it offers that degree of hope that as long as Cyndi's still out there, making music, causing waves.
We got some good stuff coming.
We got some good stuff coming, and we have something to be proud of.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, tonight's broadcast is presented with the generous support of Visit Lauderdale. Everyone under the sun.
Next, we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church right here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out television studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral's Sunday International Service at 10:30 a.m.
We finished tonight's Queer News headlines with a segment we call LGBTQ+ 1 Minute News.
LGBTQ+ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up entertainment. Netflix doubled down on LGBTQ+ with Dead Boy Detectives. Netflix new show Dead Boy Detectives delivers a captivating blend of mystery, horror, comedy, and LGBTQ+ representation. The show is about two dead teenagers, Charlie and Edwin, who help solve mysteries and help other spirits pass on. Edwin's journey to self-acceptance as a gay character is sensitively portrayed. Supported by friends like Nico and Charles, Edwin's story underscores the importance of allyship. Meanwhile, Jenny, the tattooed butcher who plays landlord to the detective agency, shows a confident navigation of her own sexuality that adds depth, offering a diversity portrayal of LGBTQ+ experiences.
Allow me to welcome you to the Dead Boy Detective Agency. We help ghosts resolve their mysteries. Ghosts who cannot let go.
Dead Boy Detectives?
It's Aces, right?
It's just a stupid name. I would like to hire you. I've heard you're the best.
We help ghosts whose cases would go unsolved.
The cases no one else can.
The savior of the broken, the beaten and the down.
Come on, having a psychic is paying off. She is absolutely not joining the agency.
You know I can totally hear you guys.
We're pretty bang on detectives when we're not hiding from death. He spent a bunch of decades in hell.
But the technicality.
Sorry, I've got to take you to hell.
Cute show. Well, I mean, Sam, you're the Netflix guy.
I mean, it's in the same vein, kind of visually, as Archie. So it's like it's really giving me
Riverdale,
that kind of Riverdale. It's really giving me that. I'm very excited.
Okay. Nothing. So it's a DC comic that's been made into a show. I wish that we maybe could get off of making every comic book into something. Yeah. That said, it showed up in my Netflix queue as a recommendation, and I can't wait to see it. LGBTQ+ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up student and youth culture. Texas Governor Greg Abbott tells colleges to ignore Joe Biden's Title IX protections for LGBTQ+. Texas Governor Greg Abbott directs higher education leaders to disregard federal anti-discrimination law changes protecting LGBTQ+ students in Title IX. Abbott's letter targets chairs and regents at major Texas universities and colleges like Texas A&M University, Texas State University, Texas Women's University, University of Texas, and Texas Community Colleges, among others. Well, it's ironic that it's the Texas Women's College that won't be getting the funding for Title IX. But that said, I wonder who's going to win here because Title IX really only counts for about 9% of funding. So that's not really a big amount of money.
But losing Title, it's not just about losing Title IX money. It's about, it's about non-compliance of federal regulation can considerably wipe out all the other stuff too. They can threaten withdrawal of for example, student loans. Make sure that the state colleges cannot qualify for student loans. Colleges are going to empty out in a very big hurry.
Well, this is where we have to continue the battle between the Republicans' need for the states to have individual rights, but yet when the state has individual rights, they still impose their own rights on it. So it's federal or state, we got to figure out who's in charge. And on that happy note, LGBTQ plus 1 minute news, let's queer up gay culture again. Billboard has launched a survey to examine LGBTQ plus representation in the music industry. Queer Capity, just butchered that, I'm sorry, in collaboration with Billboard and The Orchard, has launched the State of the LGBTQ plus music industry professional survey. This anonymous survey addresses workplace identity, representation, diversity initiatives, and resources for the LGBTQ plus professionals. Participants also have a chance to win an everywhere bag from Away. Those interested can access the survey on Queer Capita's website until May 22nd. Well, again, we've got some great news about music and culture and presence for the gay community. So I encourage everyone to check out the website and, participate in the website and see what happens. But this is exciting to have Billboard finally have representation when we've had so many fantastic icons.
It's like, this just in.
Yeah.
Gay people in music.
Exactly.
But I think it's more about performance, though. I mean, there are also a lot of smaller performance venues from classical music to core. There are many different kinds of music. But also, apologies to the audience. My Siri has decided to stop picking up on the microphone earlier.
But it's exciting to have Billboard finally give the presence that we need in the acceptance.
Yeah, because the more people hear, the more they remember that we exist.
Exactly.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up entertainment. Kim Kardashian jokes Tom Brady reminds her of stepdad Caitlyn Jenner. Kim Kardashian was greeted with loud boos when she came on the stage of Netflix's The Greatest Roast of All Time, Tom Brady, and mentioned Brady's height as part of the roast. She linked Brady's appearance to her transgender parent, Caitlyn Jenner, saying, "I do know it never would have worked out, though. An ex-athlete, high cheekbones, silky hair, you remind me too much of my stepdad now," end quote.
Oh, yeah.
That made me uncomfortable just saying it. So, I don't know. The jokes in some of these roasts are getting a little too much. I mean, I know what a roast is. It's just like there's that really thin line where everybody has to toe, and sometimes they smudge that line a little bit.
And it's gotten so much that they've actually edited out a lot of this so far. So I'm not sure. I haven't watched it, but I'm not sure if it's a good roast or not, if that has to be done.
It's a brutal one.
Yeah.
A good roast is a brutal one, so.
No, I understand, but I mean, there's daggers expected, but not executions. So, but it's Tom Brady. What do you want?
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up the worldview. World famous Tel Aviv Pride cancelled due to Israel-Hamas war. In a surprising turn of events, Tel Aviv Yavo officials have declared the cancellation of the city's beloved annual Pride Parade. Instead, the municipality has opted to host a rally symbolizing pride, hope, and freedom. The decision was reached after consultation with the LGBTQ plus community groups, party organizers, and venue proprietors. The LGBTQ plus coalition has expressed support for the alternative events as well. That's good, partly, but I'm also kind of slightly concerned because with the Israeli government increasingly turning towards the right, this cancellation might mean the end of it. The ultra-Orthodox might try to enforce the the view that Tel Aviv should not have any more pride ever
But
again.
considering the war itself and the politics right now.
Oh, I mean, I'm sympathetic to it.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, I don't think there's a winning here. So I would rather, in my opinion, I would rather downsize it and still have presence than make us an even bigger target for more opportunities for disaster.
Israel, Palestine, sort your shit
Yes.
out. We deserve to have pretty things.
Yeah.
Right.
That is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show. If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Are you, like most of America, part of our very large television audience, watching this live LGBTQ plus news broadcast right now on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, and Amazon Fire TV?
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight, Tai Houser. And on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the anchors for Queer News Tonight, including Sam Lantz, Dr. Bobby Huen, and Buddy Frey. We'll see you daily at 8 p.m. And to our LGBTQ plus world, we wish you a very good night.
Good night.